Jade Chan pointed the Dragon Talisman at a stone statue and burned Shendu out of existence. That was the win. Uncle spent the next season explaining why it was also the mistake. Destroy a Demon Sorcerer and the balance tips, and something worse grows into the gap that is left. 7 things grew into it. Shendu's brothers and sisters, sealed into the Netherworld by the 8 immortals, each locked behind a portal hidden somewhere on Earth. Bullets do not work on them. Age does not either. The only thing that has ever worked is one specific relic, one chai spell, and the right ingredients delivered onto the target, and the relic keeps a trace of whatever it sends through. The Panku box maps those doors one at a time. 8 siblings, 8 elements. The first one through was the largest. Pokong came up through a portal along a river in Japan and blocked out the tree line. The mountain demon is built to the scale her element suggests. Tall enough to step over a building, heavy enough that the ground gives under her, strong enough to throw whatever the J-team put in front of her. Jackie spent that episode stalling while Uncle and Toru raced in with the spell. Stalling was the correct plan, and here is why. She never attacks at range. Not once. No boulder storms, no shockwaves, no elemental blast of any kind. She does not command mountains. She is one. Everything she does by walking over and reaching down, which turns the fight into a problem of distance, not power. Stay out of arm's reach, and the largest of the 8 siblings cannot touch you. She also eats constantly, which the series treats as appetite rather than magic. Behavior, not a weapon, though it explains why she heads toward populated areas. The drum finished her. 1 immortal relic, Uncle's chi spell, and the biggest of them went back through her own door. The rewritten timeline made it funnier. There, Pokong ran a salt mine with Toru working it, and a drum was already down there keeping rhythm for the labor. Her own work camp stored the one object that could remove her, sealed away for centuries, a body the size of a hill, and her ambition never grew past the next meal. What came out of the second door could stand in a prison yard and pass for a man. That second portal sat inside a maximum security prison, which meant Shendu's plan required the Dark Hand to get themselves arrested on purpose. They committed a crime bad enough to get caught and small enough to land in the right facility. Jackie went in undercover after them. Xiaofeng came out throwing weather. The wind demon knocks people off their feet with gusts, and his breath alone sends a grown man down a corridor. Then he did something none of the others had. He called it concealment, a small whirlwind, and the demon was gone, replaced by a man in a conjured prison jumpsuit who could walk the yard unchallenged. The facial structure carried over. So did the build. So did the red eyes. That was the flaw. He kept his wind power while disguised, but using it pushed the demon back through the human face, and so did losing his temper. A disguise that breaks the moment you use it is odd engineering. A fan ended it. The rewritten timeline put him in Mexico, watching El Toro Fuerte fight for his life while Paco fanned him with a leaf. Uncle's spell did the rest. He was banished by the thing keeping him comfortable. He wanted to move through a room unnoticed. What came through the third door wanted the opposite. Hollywood got that one. The Dark Hand cracked a portal open in Los Angeles, and Chang Zhu came out onto a film lot to wreck a city that mistakes explosions for entertainment. He needs no prop for it. Lightning leaves him and strikes whatever he is looking at, and the thunder lands with it hard enough to put people on the ground. No relic, no talisman, nothing borrowed, which is worth holding on to, because it leaves him nothing to lose. There is no acquired power sitting outside his body where an enemy could reach it. No object to steal, nothing to strip out and scatter. The lightning is him. One of his siblings could not say the same, and it cost that sibling 900 years. He also wants to be worshipped, and says so out loud. Armored and fully clothed where most of his siblings are not, he arrives expecting reverence and takes its absence personally. Of all the elements available to this family, he ended up with the one that announces itself before it arrives. Castanets closed his door. Centuries later, those same castanets turned up on a sunken ship in the Arctic, still carrying his chi. The fourth portal was not on Earth. To reach it, the Dark Hand had to steal a shuttle from Cape Canaveral and fly it to a space station, because Tsolan's portal hung in high orbit, roughly halfway between the Earth and the Moon. 4 arms insectoid, calm to the point of boredom, the Moon Demon came through and never once raised his voice. He controls gravity. That covers the levitation, the objects lifting off the floor, and the people pinned to a wall without being touched. One ability, not several. Inside a room, it is an inconvenience. Aimed at the moon, it becomes something else. Then he explained how to stop himself. Jackie reached him holding the lotus, and Solon pointed out that the relic only works as part of the Chai spell, which meant removing the helmet, impossible in vacuum. Jackie held his breath, reworked the suit's breathing apparatus into a substitute, and cast it anyway. The demon spent his moment of triumph briefing the man who ended it. The show never actually ranks these 8 against each other, whatever the arguments online. What it does keep showing is the same habit. This family explains itself out loud, and it costs them. The 5th door opened in Spain, and the ambition behind it was measured in rock. Po Kong could not touch anything she could not reach. Dai Gui does not have that problem. The earth demon tears rock out of the ground and throws it, drops through solid floor to surface behind you, and hauls the terrain up to trip whoever is running. Same corner of the family, opposite solution. She is a mountain. He moves them, bullhorned and speaking about himself in the 3rd person. Dai Gui announces what Dai Gui intends and then does it by throwing the floor at it. His release episode produced the arc's best coincidence. Jackie had just excavated the armor of the 8 immortals, worn by the warriors who sealed this family away, and was hauling it to Spain when the Dark Hand cracked his portal open nearby. The counter and the threat shared a scene. A flower put him back. Po Kong's silence looked like a design quirk. Then the 6th door opened at Fenway Park, of all places, and it turned out to be a rule. Shi Wu flies. Bat wings wide enough to carry him off a ballpark roof, claws, a prehensile tail, and enough control to stay above everyone trying to hit him. He lost the tail escaping that first fight. Uncle sealed it behind Chi magic and kept it as a locator, which handed him a problem none of his siblings faced. He needed something from the people hunting him, so he did what Xiaofeng had done, only better. Xiaofeng threw a whirlwind and became a man in a jumpsuit to walk past guards. Shi Wu shed his form in a burst of lightning and became a boy roughly Jade's age. Conjured school backpack included. Eyes shifted from red to a muddy brown. One disguised himself to get past people. The other disguised himself to be trusted by one. He could also hybridize mid-fight, snapping a hand into a claw and unfolding his wings while the face stayed human. A flute took him out of the sky and took him again in the rewritten timeline while he held Viper caged in New York. Of the 8, the sibling with no elemental magic and no plan larger than his own tail came closest to walking free. That happened at the last door, still unopened. The last of the 7 came out of a portal in Rome, and Baitsa's first act was to go looking for her old kingdom. She found ruins, so she picked a replacement. The water demon hauls waves up out of open water, compresses it into pressurized spheres and throws them and, like the rest of the family, works spells beyond her own element, including one that summons water where there was none. Solon had wanted to rearrange the planet's surface. Baitsa wanted a city and planned to take it by triggering an earthquake that would drop San Francisco into the sea so she could rebuild on top of it. Stopped there, she went off to flood somewhere else. Centuries in a void, and she came out of it doing property development. Her episode is called The New Atlantis, which has done heavy lifting in fan arguments. The show never puts her at the sinking of anything by that name, only a demon who lost one kingdom and went shopping for another. The gourd sent her back, and the spell worked the way it had 6 times already, except that Jade was standing too close. She went through with the demon. That accident is why anyone went looking for the 8th door, the one nobody had touched, belonging to the brother who put the other 7 behind theirs. The 8th door reveals Shendu was banished alongside them, got out by means the show never explains, and left them sealed in. He surfaced in China and ruled an empire there until his own subjects rebelled. They stripped the 12 powers he had acquired out of his body, scattered them across the world as talismans, and left him standing in a courtyard as a statue for the next 900 years. Which makes the demon everyone remembers the weakest projector of his own element. Restored, Shendu is a 30-foot dragon who breathes fire, and that is the whole of his innate magic. Throwing fire from his hands required the Dragon Talisman, a power taken off him and handed back. Changzhu managed it with nothing borrowed. What Shendu had instead was spellcraft. He brewed a venom that turned people slowly to stone, commanded a tribe of Shadowkhan without ever holding the mask that controls them, and while petrified and unable to move, built a working talisman locator out of his own body. His siblings cursed his spirit to stay in whatever body it took until all of them walked free, so the demon who insisted on ruling alone spent a season riding inside Valmont. At the 8th door, Shi Wu nearly beat every one of them through it, until Jade climbed out instead. That is all 8. 2, who never cast a spell. One who wanted a city, one who wanted the moon, and one who needed a stolen talisman to keep up with his own family. Everyone went down to something ordinary. A drum, a fan, castanets, a lotus, a flower, a flute, a gourd, a sword. Nobody in this series ever outfought a demon sorcerer. They only ever separated one from its power, or from the world. And separation leaves a residue. Every one of those objects kept a trace, and centuries later it was collectible. Dai Gai's chi landed in a teenager who used it to play hero. Po Kong's went into Toru. Drago took the other 7 and never needed his father's. He was already a fire demon, and unlike Shendu, he could throw it from his hands. Combined, the 8 gave him what nobody in the family ever had: sky alteration and rifts torn open between dimensions. So Uncle, who spent 5 seasons warning that destroying a demon is worse than containing one, restored Shendu on purpose to fight him. It ends with Drago throwing his father into the demon world and Shendu catching his son's tail on the way down, so neither of them arrives alone.